First recipe we're going to do is a panzanella salad. What our goal is to try to be as sustainable as possible. So I've chosen 3 recipes from Europe that we can prepare right here in New Jersey or anywhere you are with the products that we get locally and fresh. So panzanella salad, what I did first was I cut and grilled off our vegetables. The recipes will follow after this. They will be available on EWC so you can see them. So we grilled up vegetables. We chopped them in large chunks, very large chunks. It's dressed already because panzanella is traditionally a salad that is served from leftover. So we kind of want to keep that tradition going. So I did it without, we made a sherry vinaigrette with it. You, of course, can use anything you'd like with it. And I'm going to put it into our bread boule. And the story goes that these were the salads that were given to the farmers in southern Italy when they went out to, and northern Italy, I believe, when they went out to work in the morning. It was all the leftover veggies from the night before. And of course we have all this beautiful fresh Jersey product here, so we use that for us. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little creative with it, and we're gonna take the top of the boule, we chopped it up, and we're going to put the crouton right on top of our panzanella veggie. Now if you serve this as an entree, you can use a larger boule. This would be for 2 people, this. And then we're going to take some cheese. If you can get a local cheese maker to make you any kind of cheese you'd like, I prefer the milder the cheese, not to take away from the vegetable. Okay. And that goes like that. We've grilled off an orange, which as we know are just absolutely wonderful this time of year. And I'm going to dress just a little bit further so that we get our bread nice and wet. And it won't have that. It's supposed to have a stale taste to it, but so the olive oil, the vinegar, the orange juice kind of sucks into the bread, and you get a softer chew on it. So you have a wonderful salad left over for the evening if this is a lunch. And next we're going to go to our Nisswa salad that is classically prepared in France. Okay, so now we're going to be working on our Nisswa salad, which comes to us traditionally from France. And Nisswa because of the olive, and that's why it's called Nisswa. So originally from France, but we have all these beautiful local products here. Today we're cooking in Jersey, and it's all Jersey fresh. And I embraced this life again from after I was a child. My mom, my family were very involved in all this sustainable life because they came from southern Italy. And then I embraced it again in 1993 when I found myself in Costa Rica with a bed and breakfast and a small bistro. And learned once again about sustainability and how important it was. And there, at that time, no spraying, no anything. You grew your own, literally. We felt like if I planted something the next morning, the lizards were eating it. That's how fast things would grow. You could actually watch it grow. So with that said, I'm going to put a little avocado on our Nisswa salad, which isn't really typical, but will bring a little fusion to the plate. And as we know, it's very important for us all to eat as healthy as possible. Excuse me. And that being said, if you can't plant your own garden, well, at least support our farmers in your local state and use their products. It's definitely healthier for us. And don't necessarily think that sustainable is organic, because 90% of the time it's not, because there's very little organic soil in our country. So if it's a raised bed, then you know it's organic. If it's not, it doesn't really matter because especially here in Jersey, you have great soil. So, doesn't mean you have to be organic and pay extra for your food. In fact, if you eat sustainable and you support your grocers and your farmers, you're going to probably pay less money. So, something to think about. Okay, so that's our tuna, and we got sushi grade tuna. We left it very rare inside. It's totally up to the person if they want to cook it more. If you want it well done, go right ahead. But it's totally safe to eat it this way. The Nisswa olive. This is Nisswa olive has pits in it. You can get them pitted, but it's almost like taking the fat off of meat. So I would prefer, for me, that I keep the pits in. Just make sure your guest knows that the pits are in. Okay, so now we're going to go to our hard-boiled egg, and that's something that's very classic. And these were super fresh eggs from Jersey Farm, and you could tell that because they didn't want to leave their skin. So I like eggs, so I put 2. Now this is a salad also that can be eaten, but served 2 people. You could serve it for 4 people if you're going to have an entree with it. And later we're going to be doing a lamb dish that might be very nice to serve with this. And you kind of have a surf and turf. Oops. So we're using tuna today because that's classic and because it is right now very fresh. They're catching it out of New Jersey waters, out of the Atlantic. So in the winter, not so much. You might want to put swordfish or something more sustainable at that point. So this is a meal in itself. It gets its roasted potatoes. I did the potatoes in the oven, 35 minutes, olive oil, salt, pepper, parsley, basil. And these are our haricot vert. Any green bean is fine. Any green bean is fine. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of a dressing for this. I am not going to dress it because some people don't like, everybody doesn't like the same thing on salad. So I would put out 2 or 3 different dressings and have people choose what they decide. So vinegar, 1/4 vinegar, 3/4 olive oil. And I'm using rice wine vinegar. You can use any vinegar you want. Pepper. Salt. I'm going to put a little bit of fresh basil in there for flavor. And then just whisk this together like so. So I would put this in a small saucer with 1 or 2 other dressings prepared on the side. It's nice with a Greek dressing. If you choose to add cheese to it, feta is a nice cheese, brie is a nice cheese. If you can get northeastern artisan cheese, absolutely fabulous, or a cowgirl blue would be fabulous. That's from the Midwest, but keep it northeast. I would just do something like that. You can also take your Dijon, which is, we have it somewhere, I know that. Take a little bit of Dijon mustard, mix it with mayonnaise, drizzle it on top, and you have a little bit of flavor of the Dijon mustard, which is classic for this. Okay, so these were capers, Nisswa olives, your green beans, your potatoes, your egg, tomato, Jersey fresh, and your avocado. Next recipe is going to be a domestic rack of lamb with some wild mushrooms that are very, very, very easy to come by this time of year in New Jersey. I've got some butter in there. I did not clarify. I just melted it down. I'm going to salt and pepper the mushrooms. And they really, you don't want to do too much to them because the taste, if you like mushrooms, the flavor of them is what you're looking for. And now the pan is nice and hot. I'm going to add some of my lamb broth from cooking the lamb. And it's got fresh oranges in it that I grilled and roasted, so you got a lot of good flavor in there. And just cook that down just a wee bit. And if you really wanted to, you could do this with leeks as well. And as soon as we get really nice and hot, we're going to go ahead and add about a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of red wine. And it'll kind of help with the fresh jus that we're going to use for the lamb. If this was a shallow pan, we probably could have got some flame there, but I want to cook the wine all the way down. I don't really want to taste the wine. I just want the flavor of the sugars kind of come together there. And we don't need to add garlic or anything like that unless you're really a garlic lover, because I have garlic and shallot that's already been put on the lamb after I grilled it. So I grilled the lamb first, marked it, and then in the oven 12 minutes, 425 degrees, and that should give you nice medium rare. If you like it cooked more, by all means, let it go. Okay, so now we're going to plate. So I have rosemary on there to let everybody know there's rosemary in the dish. I'm going to grab a knife over here. What I did was I roasted out carrots whole with the lamb and a little bit of stock just to make the jus a little bit thicker. I'm going to cut off the carrots that are not even. Not that it really matters because this is a real country dish. Okay, another dish very popular in the south of France. And when I studied there, we had lots and lots of lamb, all different kinds of lamb, and very gamey, like ours here, but very delicious, very delicious. So I like to cut my chops in two bones. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do, let's make him stand like that. Usually if you're feeding a crowd of mixed couples or whatever, you always get someone who wants one and then they can split it. It's easy enough for them to cut themselves. But I think 2 is a nice portion for dinner. And again, you can serve this with the panzanella. You can serve this with your Nisswa if you want to surf and turf. Also, I want you to notice that everything that I used in the Nisswa is also used in this recipe. And with that said, we do that because, like in Europe or like where our ancestors came from, they like to use the same thing 3 or 4 times in one recipe because they didn't have the chance to go to the market every single day, so they went to the field and whatever was fresh, they ate. Okay, so we don't have to spend a fortune on, on eating our good food. All right, so I'm going to get our green beans and my tongs. Also, this time in our lives, it's very important that we know where our food is coming from with all that's going on in the world. And eating this way only ensures that we're feeding our families and ourselves in a healthy manner. So I suggest that even if you just start with your food, try it and become sustainable, and we'll keep our farmers in business. Okay, so that's our wild mushroom, and we used shiitake. I wanted trumpets, but I don't think they were available. We used baby bellas or crimini, whichever you want to call it. So that's at least a dinner for two, at least, and maybe more. Our next recipe is going to be an olive oil cake with orange. There's your dinner.
Anyone that knows me knows that desserts are my weakness. So several months ago, when Chef Annie made this wonderful cake for me, I called it the mystery cake because I didn't know what the ingredients were. I just knew that I had to have another slice and another slice. But the one thing that really made it special was it truly was made with love. My granddaughter, Olivia, participated in making the cake, and she did a wonderful job under Chef Annie's leadership there. And so I wanted to just have the experience shared with you today with Chef Annie about how to create this wonderful olive cake. Chef Annie?
Thank you. So this, again, traditional Southern Italian. It's an olive oil orange cake. If we had availability this time of year to blood orange, we would have used blood orange, but we don't have that availability right now in New Jersey. So we just use regular Jersey orange, and we use olive oil, flour, very simple, eggs off the farm, of course, farm fresh eggs, and just fresh squeezed orange juice and orange zest. We cheated a little bit, and you can put in some Grand Marnier or Triple Sec or one of your favorite liqueurs. Just put 2 or 3 tablespoons. It adds zing to it. It's some sugar, and we beat the eggs separately, and it gets folded into 1 cup of flour, and then it rises very high. And the trick of this cake, for some reason, is that it falls. So right now is about what you're going to see when it first comes out. It's a little bit higher than this, and then it all settles in and becomes very moist and delicious. So, and I did at the end of the, after the bake, when it's still warm, I poured some fresh squeezed orange juice on top to get it through there, which helps it stay moist as well. Some strawberries to garnish. You can garnish with grapes. You could sugar your grapes if you'd like, and put them in the freezer. It makes a nice display as well. And a little fresh orange to know that orange is in there. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, and I have the pleasure of being here to be able to sample all of these wonderful dishes that Chef Annie prepared for us. So I'd like to thank Chef Annie for doing a great job. We really enjoyed it. But we'll also take some time now. Chef Ann will be around to answer your questions. So please join us at a future Joy Connection program. But I'm going to